Hello everyone, this is Mycael from ATSpear, and today I'm going to be showing you guys start to finish how Chandra and I edit these videos using Movavi. Now I'm using the Video Suite 2020 for these, but no matter what version you have, it should look similar and the stuff should be in similar places. So first off, you're going to want to sort all of the footage and video and sound effects and whatever you're going to be putting into the software. In our case, we just do video, which is what these MP4 files are. And then this logo animation file is just that animated logo that pops in to the videos after we introduce what the video is about. So to add the software to Movavi, you can either click this Add Files button, or you can just drag and drop them. So I'm going to drag and drop these over. It doesn't matter where you drop it. And it says it's analyzing the files. That typically takes a minute or two. It can be longer if you have bigger file sizes, but this is a short video. It's only like 3 or 4 minutes long, so this shouldn't take too long for us to get it in there. Okay, now that they're in here, you can drag and drop them down here onto your timeline. So one thing we like about the GoPro is it tries to number these in numerical order. So I can see that since this is 214 and this one over here is 216, that this one probably was shot first. So I'm just going to drag it down and let go. And it will auto try to put the file in the correct spot. So it has titles and text go on this track. Video goes down on this one, as well as pictures and any transitions. And then audio, that's going to be your music or sound effects that you add to the video. That is also its own track, and we'll show you putting music down in there. And then the T, that's just your titles track, so like when you see pop-up text come up on the video, I'm usually adding that in. So first thing I like to do is down here on the scale, I like to bump this up a little bit. What that does is it zooms into the video, so you see the second marks at the top of the timeline are getting bigger or smaller. Typically I will put it in the 5-second increments one. And I do that because all of these lines that you see down here on the blue bar are points where there was sound in the video. So usually that's Chandra or me talking. And I like to try to cut out spots where I see big dead space, like here in the beginning. We usually count to 3 or 4 before we start talking, that way I have more room to cut here. And it helps you with your nerves and stuff. And I don't know what's going on here, but you can see there's not a lot of white lines on this bit here, so that probably means there wasn't a lot of talking. So we may end up cutting a lot there as well. And the bar at the bottom of our screen here, this lets you drag left and right to see any point in the video. And then the project length below that is how long your video is. Now to play our video, because we want to look at it, you can hit play here, or as you can see in parentheses it says you can also hit spacebar. I like to use spacebar. So we're going to start by just playing the first few seconds to see if I want to cut this dead space or if there's any movement going on.
Hello everyone, this is Mycael.
So we can see that there was not really any talking going on there at all, and there was a lot of weird background noise. So we're just going to cut that out. So to cut, we're going to move this red line. I don't know what they call this in audio software. Someone smarter than me can say in the comments what that is. But I'm going to move it to the point I want cut, so I'm putting it just a little bit before these lines pick up because that's talking. And then I'm going to hit the scissors. And what that's going to do is now I have, let me move the line so you can see, it cut the video so that this is one video and audio track and this is one video and audio track. And this is usually how I will get rid of mistakes or dead spots where there's not a lot of talking, so that I can shorten the video so you guys only see Chandra and I talking about the products. So I'm going to click on the one on the left, which is where we cut, and now it has this yellow border around it. That just means it's selected. And then you can either hit the trash can icon or you can hit delete on your keyboard. And as you see, it got rid of it. So now, when we play,
Hello everyone.
we're immediately talking. And the next thing I like to do before I get too involved with effects and adding, cutting video and stuff like that, is I like to go to this section with the screwdriver and the wrench looking thing, because this is where your color adjustment, your cropping, if you want a different overlay, if you're using a green screen, if you want to watermark your videos, stuff like that is all in the video editing section. And then audio editing has equalizer and noise removal and a few other things I haven't played with. So typically I will put an equalizer on all of them. Now what this does is it kind of adjusts the audio levels, either custom if you know how to read these and know what sounds are at what, or they have some preset ones based on common video types. They have voice enhancement is going to make someone talking sound louder than background noise and music. Music enhancement will do the opposite. It will boost the music and the background noise and reduce talking. Volume boost is just going to generally boost everything. And I haven't played with these others, but I can guess at a few of them. So like hum reduction is probably going to reduce background noise more, or humming noise like there was before I cut it out. Bass boost and bass reduction will boost or either make bass louder or make bass quieter. Treble will do the same. And I don't know what these other ones are, but since they're all styles of music, I imagine that these will adjust your levels if you're doing music or songs in here. Maybe it boosts these genres. Like if I was making a rock video, I'd probably pick rock. And then I don't know what small speakers is, and have never used it. I pretty much only use the voice enhancement for our videos, because usually we're just talking about a product and showing you a product, so I want our voices louder. So I will go ahead and click that, and you see it adjusted these bars a little bit. It boosted the 250 one and the 2 kilohertz one. And the reason I do that before I get too involved in editing is you see it down here, it put a star. If I click that, it'll tell me what effect I have on this track. Now, the reason we do that is if you do it before you do a lot of cuts, it will keep your effects even after you do cuts. So if I was to cut here, for example, you see on the left it still has the star for equalizer, and on the right track, don't know why that jumped, it still has the equalizer over here as well. So it can save me a lot of time later of having to click on every single cut I've made and making sure they have the same effects for consistency. So I go ahead and do that beforehand. The other one that I usually have in every single one of our videos is this Magic Enhance. And I do it because you'll see it just kind of makes all the colors stand out a little more, be a little more crisp. You can't really tell there, but you will see when we get to the opening, it'll make like black's a little more black, red's a little more red. I don't use any of these other ones. We've tried white balance before. I don't usually notice a difference with the auto one unless you have a lot of white in your background. I've never played with these others. Crop and rotate's fun, but it can be very tedious if you're going to be moving scenes a lot or if there's a lot of movement, because it cuts the total frame, so I usually don't play with this a whole lot. Overlay, this is so like picture in picture I will be a little box. This is more for when you're trying to have two videos at the same time. One example would be like if you were playing a video game and trying to record your screen and you wanted then you might use like picture in picture. I've occasionally used side by side in our videos that we were able to get a sign language interpreter, so you could have Chandra and me and the sign language interpreter. But usually we don't play with this too much. Pan and zoom, we'll do like a zoom in effect or pan the camera top to bottom, right to left. Again, these get very tedious and I usually find it easier to just do it on the camera itself, because like if I zoom in, then your whole video is zoomed in unless you remember to go put in a zoom out effect. Stabilization can be good, but we use a media mod and a stand for our GoPro, so usually I don't have to bother with this. Animation would be like if you want some objects on your screen, like if you were gonna, I don't know, put maybe GoPro in here and you want it to move around the screen. I don't play with these very lot. We don't do a lot of animation, but if you're using them, this is where all those are. We don't use highlight and conceal very much. Again, that's more like the color correction type stuff. You have to really, really be an expert at that to not make your video look very weird. Chroma key, this is if you were using a green screen or a blue screen, you can put it in here. Okay, so scene detection sounds like it's going to try to go ahead and put the cuts in for you. I don't know, maybe if you're doing a movie or, again, like a game, maybe it would know what to do. I don't use this, I do it manually. Logo is if you want to watermark your video. You can add your logo and it will show up across the bottom of your clips. Slow motion, again, is pretty self-explanatory. You can add a slow motion effect. That's really all there is to it. Like I said, we mostly just use the magic enhance and the voice enhancement equalizer. I usually don't need these other tools for our videos. So the next thing I typically will do is I will go into where it has the two T's. This is for titles, and there are a lot of them. If I go to all, Movavi lets you buy title packs and sticker packs and different effect stuff, and we have a few of them that we got when we initially purchased as part of like a summer deal. And the heart you see on some of these is you can favorite the ones you use a lot, and they will go here in this favorites, which I will click on in a second. But you can see there are a lot of titles you can use, and we only have like 2 of the title packs. There are probably a couple dozen, maybe 100 of them total on Movavi store, so you can really get whatever you want. I'm going to go to favorites though, since I have kind of favored the ones Chandra and I use a lot. So here's that, they call it robotic arm. This is the one I use every time Chandra and I introduce ourselves. So I just left click it, and then you see it tries to drop it in the title track automatically. That's why it has highlighted this track in blue. And then the red line is just going to be at what point do you want this to show up. Now we like to do it in the beginning. Now you can see it's here in the beginning, and I can move this around wherever I want. I can rotate it. So typically I like to put it in the bottom corner, so it shows up, but it's not too in the way. And then I'm going to put in my name. And the other thing Chandra and I do in all of our videos is I change the color to be black. You won't notice much here, but on other titles that can be a major difference. And then I like to change it to Open Sans Extra Bold. Because Chandra and I do a lot of assistive technology, and a lot of this is products for the elderly or for people with a disability. I don't know what researcher did this study, but supposedly Open Sans is supposed to be one of the easiest types of text to read. So it can be very accommodating for disabilities and the elderly and anyone who has visual difficulties seeing tiny text. This can help. So then the next thing we will do is I'll click on our video, so it's selected, and I'm going to look for where I want to cut so we can do a transition into our logo. Usually it's right after I have introduced myself and said what I'm going to be reviewing.
Hello everyone, this is Mycael, and today I'm going to be showing you the GoPro Smart Remote.
Okay, so I can see around here is where I stopped saying GoPro. I've introduced it as the GoPro remote, and then over here is where it looks like I'm going to start talking about it. So I'm going to drag our line. I try to get it evenly, like kind of half and half. Doesn't make a huge difference, because you can, once they're cut, you can click on it and you see I get these arrows. I can drag it either to be longer, or by dragging it longer this way, or I can shorten it by dragging it to the left. So then I will typically go back up here to, I don't know what they call this, import, it says, and this is where it will put all those video clips and any music or sample videos that Movavi has. So this is typically where I will then drag our logo in here, and then I take out the little pre-built music the video came with. So now I'm going to make the title last the whole duration. If this is shorter, your title will go away. So I'll make it real short just to show you.
Hello everyone, this is
So you see it didn't last very long. So typically I will make that be the entire duration of the clip before the intro. That way it's up there, then it transitions to the intro, and then it's gone when we get to the rest of the video. So first I will show you what this looks like without a transition, and then we'll go and put in a transition, make it look a little prettier. So if you don't use a transition, it can be very jarring on your viewers, which you'll see. So I'm going to be talking about this, then it's going to just be a black screen with the logo, then it's going to suddenly be me talking again, and it's very jarring to the viewer. So I'll show you what it looks like without transitions, and then we'll go in and throw some transitions in real quick. You see how jarring that was? I'm just talking and suddenly it's black screen. And suddenly we're back. So to do that in Movavi, we're going to go to the third icon down. It looks like a picture. And if you hover, it does say transitions. And again, like titles, there's all kinds of transitions you can use in your videos. And you can buy more of these. But I'm going to go to favorites. One thing I like about Movavi is if you just left click it, it will show a little preview of what it looks like. There we go. Had to click it twice. So you can kind of see what the effect is going to do before you have dropped it into your video. So typically I will use lens first, which was the wave goes from the bottom left to the top right, and then I will use warp, which is the wave comes from the top right to the bottom left. I find it looks very natural when I do that. So now we'll show you what it looks like with the transitions and why Chandra and I use them.
Smart remote? Reading the features on the back?
You can see it looks a lot better. Another subtle trick you can use transitions for is if there's somewhere you need to cut a tiny sliver and you need to kind of make it look natural and not you suddenly jumping around the screen. I have occasionally used a transition to go into a new segment of talking to cut out a mistake or rambling. So you can use transitions to hide mistakes a little bit. Don't go overboard with that where it looks unnatural, but you can use it like if I'm talking about, maybe I'm unboxing the device and then I'm talking about it, and maybe it took me forever to get it out of the packaging. I can cut me fighting with the packaging, throw in a transition, and then I am talking about the product, and it looks more natural than if I did not use a transition to where you would just see stuff open, then suddenly the box is gone and I'm talking, and it can be confusing. Transitions can hide a little bit of your mistakes. So next you'll notice usually there's background music and we don't have any yet. So we're going to go back to our import tab, that's the top one. I'm going to go down to music. And again, there's lots and lots of music, and you can left click on them to preview. And I don't remember what was the last one I was using. So let me save this because maybe I can go and pull up another video. So in my file system, this is one we found that apparently a lot of people who do videos do. I've saved the project into project files, and I may have multiple versions sometimes if it's a longer project. And typically I just name it what I'm going to eventually call the video. I do that, which I'll show you when I'm uploading it to YouTube, of why I do that, because if you name it the video name, YouTube by default will name your video whatever the file name is. So then I don't have to type that in usually. And Movavi is a little dumb and doesn't let you have multiple projects open, so I'm going to have to close this. Let's see. Webcam as a success was one I used. Oh, nope, I offloaded that already, so that file is empty. Huh. Oh well, we will just listen to a few of them and see if I can figure out which one it is I usually use. We recently changed it, so I'm going to listen to the music and see if I can work it out. This is just them trying to get me to pay for the new one. I can't afford it yet, so I keep closing it. So let's see. Maybe it was Breakthrough. That sounds promising. sounds familiar, but I could have just been listening to it. I think I used to use Discovery. I think that's the one, but we'll go through a few others. That's definitely not it. That's definitely not it. That's not it. That's definitely not it. So initially we used Wind of Change, and then Shanda and I got sick of listening to it on every single video. So I think we're using this Breakthrough one, or Discovery. This sounds more right. Yeah, it's very easy to change this later if that's not the one. I'll have to look at my backups to see which one I was using, but we're going to use Discovery for now. So again, I drag it down like I would, and it auto will drop it onto the music track. Now, this is going to sound very loud, which is why if you double click it, you can get into the properties for this clip, which is where you will have your volume, how fast the music is, if it's going to fade in or fade out. If you want to reverse the music track, you can do that, and any applied effects you've put on it. So typically on the music track, I am dropping these down to about 5% usually. And then in the beginning, I do a 1 second fade in. That way, it's not music immediately. It will take a second, and then of the music building up slowly, and then it will play. And then I will see how long this music track is. Sometimes I end up having to drop the same music track in multiple times if the video is long enough. And then typically every time I'm ending the video, I will put in a 2 second fade out, which we will see when I get to there. So now just to show the first 15 seconds of what we did, we've put in a title with my name, we've put in a little bit of color enhancement, a little bit of voice boosting, and we've put in some music. And we've got some transitions in our logo, so we'll show you what that looks like.
Hello everyone, this is Mycael, and today I'm going to be showing you the GoPro Smart Remote. Reading the features on the back.
So you can see it's starting to look a little more professional. Now, you guys who are long-time viewers will know that after our names, after the transition, I always put in another title telling you what the product I'm reviewing is. I'm going to play a little more just so I can see where my face is in this.
Reading the features.
So we don't cover it with the title. So it looks like I can drag it down here and it's not in our way. Now on the product one where I'm saying what the video is about, I usually will change the font first. And I do that because some fonts are not all the same size. So when I'm trying to adjust the box to fit the text, it may be wrong. So this is a GoPro remote review. You can see it went down to the next line, and to fix that, I'm just going to click on the white dot in the middle. I'm going to drag it out a little more. I'm going to do that on both sides. Now we can see it's back to one line, and then I'm going to drag our little white box behind it to fit the text. And then we're going to save it. Then we're going to watch some more video and see if we want to do any more cuts or if we want any more little pop-up effects.
Reading the features on the back, it is supposed to be able to control your GoPro up to 600 feet.
Now, one thing I forgot to do, which is why that sounds weird, is on the transition, I did not tell it to freeze frame, which means as it was playing the logo, it was still playing audio. Now, your options are trimmed content, which is where it will continue to have the talking over your transition a little bit. You can do freeze frame, which is what I usually set, which is don't have anything from the video track playing during the transition. Or you can do slow motion, which will put a slow motion, slow down your talking a little bit. I like to use freeze frame. So now we'll back it up a little bit and we'll see how it sounds.
GoPro Smart Remote. Reading the features on the back, it is supposed to be able to control your GoPro up to 600 feet. It's waterproof up to 33 feet, and you can supposedly control up to 50 GoPro cameras at once.
Now, we're listing some features, and typically when I'm listing features or I'm listing what's in the box, I like to add in this checklist title card, and I believe this comes in every single version. Unfortunately, we can't do much editing, so I can't change where it says checklist. That's just one of the restrictions of Movavi. But we're going to drag it to the side so I'm not covering my face or the product. And then we're going to drag these text boxes over to it and make them fit. Now, try to do your best to line it up, but it's not always perfect. Movavi's a little finicky with these. A little bit tricky to get everything lined up, and unfortunately, if there is a way to fix that, there's not really any tutorials out there showing you how to do it. So I just try to line up the middle white dot of the text box with the black dot, and I find that usually gets it close. So that one's good, that one's good. This one's a little high, so we're going to... Unfortunately, my mouse is acting up today, so just bear with me. Alright, so it's just going to have to be a little below or a little high. The rest of them look good, so you probably won't notice too much. So once again, I'm going to change the text first. That way this will fit correctly as I type. You may have to adjust it a little more if it bumped it out of the way a little bit. Usually it's fine after you get it lined up the first time. So we had said
What?
For some reason it went away. So we had said it can control GoPro. It had a 600 foot range to GoPro. I think we had said it was waterproof up to 10 feet. Well, we can always go back in and edit this if that is wrong. And then we'll listen because I don't remember what else we said. So we'll back it up a little bit and hear what we said, and then
It's supposed to be able to control your GoPro up to 600 feet. It's waterproof up to 33 feet, and you can supposedly control up to 50 GoPro cameras at once.
So this was 33 feet. That is very impressive for a camera. Or for a remote, I'm sorry. And you can controls up to 50 GoPros. And the reason I am doing the first letter capital is just I find it reads a little better input once it's on YouTube. And then we will see if anything else is said, but if nothing else is said, we will take out these two text boxes here so you don't see them.
It's waterproof up to 33 feet, and you can supposedly control up to 50 GoPro cameras at once. So we're going to open this up.
Okay, so nothing else was said. So we can take out these two boxes. Unfortunately, you can't really delete a box as far as I know within Movavi. So to hide that, I just take out the text. And then when we play it, you won't actually see. Oop, I don't want to move this from where it was. You guys can see if you can make things look very wonky if you move things around too much. What I was trying to do is just drag it to the end of us talking. That way the text box will stay up there while we're talking about the features.
It's supposed to be able to control your GoPro up to 600 feet. It's waterproof up to 33 feet. And you can supposedly control up to 50 GoPro cameras at once. So we're going to open this up and see what's inside.
So one thing I saw is for some reason this text box is not the same as the others. So we're going to go ahead and fix that real quick. Are these not alphabetized? These are not alphabetized for some reason. That's weird. Okay, now they appear to all be the same. So you guys can see that a lot of editing is just going back and forth, listening to the same spots, making sure it looks and sounds okay. So we will probably cut some. We'll see how long of a gap there is here before I'm opening the box.
At once. So we're going to open this up and see what's inside. Okay, so we have
Alright, so it seems like right before here is when we're actually opening the box. So we're going to put a cut there, and we will cut just after we're done talking here, and then we will delete the spot in between, and then we will put a transition and make that match the end of the clip. That one wasn't a bad example, but sometimes these boxes are hard, and you will see Chandra and I fighting for like 5-10 minutes while getting a box open, so usually I'll transition there into the next section.
Okay, so we have your instructions, a little safety guide, and the remote itself is filling up this whole cardboard piece so it doesn't get damaged. Looks like a little clip thing. I hear something inside. this little ring. There, now you can see it.
Alright, so looks like we're taking stuff out of the box and saying what's inside. So again, typically when we're listing things, I like to use this checkbox one. Actually, for this, because there may be more than 5 things, which is how many text boxes you get with that. When that happens, we use this black line one instead. So I'll move that text box off to the side because we don't actually end up using it. So we will put the black box, adjust it, to where we want it. That's why I was trying to move that out of the way. And then I just make it a little bigger so it fills the screen. And then we move the other text box over to it. We actually lower it a little bit because for some reason sometimes it'll get cut off in YouTube if it's way up at the top. So then I can just type in this one. Go ahead and change the colors. So on this one, because it's a black background, we make it white. Otherwise, usually we use black text, but for black background, we want white text, and then our usual font. So now I can just type in this box, and it will auto-adjust the text box to fit. So there was a warranty paper, safety instructions, product instructions, keychain, ring, and we will save and we'll see what else was said.
Thing. I hear something inside.
This does this sometimes. It's a little bit finicky about saving your text boxes sometimes. So there was the GoPro remote. There was the product instructions. I cannot type today, guys, but bear with me. So then there was some safety instructions. I think there's a warranty page inside. There was a keychain, ring, clip attached to remote. That little silver hook we see in the video, you'll see later that can actually come off. I think it might have a lanyard. So we're gonna save. Sometimes when it's having issues saving, if you click anywhere outside the text box and then save, it usually fixes that problem with it just randomly deleting text. So let's keep watching and see if there's anything else that got mentioned or shown.
A little safety guide, and the remote itself is filling out this whole cardboard piece so it doesn't get damaged. Looks like it has a little clip thing. I hear something inside. Okay, so inside the cardboard was this little ring. There, now you can see it. Which looks like it's going to clip to this clip thing on the remote, which is probably for this little hand strap lanyard thing. And it comes with a charging cable, which looks proprietary.
Okay, so this was a hand strap, not a lanyard. And then there was a charging cable. And it is proprietary, unfortunately. I think I spelled that right. We'll double check in Google real quick. Let's see. Proprietary. 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 Good, I could spell today. And now that I see how big this is, we can actually shorten this a little bit. Save. Now you don't always have to adjust your boxes. As you saw, I was able to drag the little black background box up. If it is not in this little square, it is not in your video. And then we will extend that out till we're done talking about whatever is in here. You can see it will show you the preview if the red line is at that point. About there. Save, and we'll back it up a little bit, see what this dead space is about.
Proprietary. On the remote itself, looks like you just have a big record button.
Okay, so now we're on a new section, talking about a new thing. So we don't need all that dead space, we'll cut it out. As you can see, I typically will throw the transitions in at each section, and I spice it up by alternating between lens and warp. That way it doesn't always come from the same spot. I find it makes it a little more interesting to watch. So now we can see on our cuts, we have our intro with our name, we have the pop-up box with what we're covering, we've got the features of the remote according to the back of the box, then we have the actual unboxing where we're showing you everything inside. So now we're on to the remote features. You can see we don't have that much more footage to review, since we're 1:40 in and this is 3 minutes and 11 seconds long so far. So let's see what's next to see which title we want to use for what we're talking about.
On the remote itself, looks like you just have a big record button. You have the mode/power button, and you have a wrench looking icon, which I assume is for your settings, and a small screen. So we're gonna charge this up and see how it goes.
Okay, that was a very small feature, so we'll use checklist instead of the black box. And we're mostly holding it to the left, so we'll put the checkbox to the right. So this was record button. And that will match the record button on your GoPro. And if you're in photo mode on your GoPro, that will take pictures instead. So we will actually change that to record/picture button. That way people know who are not watching this video. Then we said mode/power, power/mode button. That's to toggle between picture, video, or I think they call it time-lapse mode is the last one. I think that's what that's called. I don't have the GoPro here with me right now to look at that. So we'll just hide that third text box because you're not going to be able to see it on that dot. And then the last one was settings button. Pretty much the idea of this remote, guys, which is what we're doing in this video, is you can control your GoPro with the remote. So if you're doing like I'm doing, where I'm recording to a camera for the most part by myself, I don't always have Chandra available as a camera person. I can control the remote with a hand like under the table or off the screen. That way, you don't see my hand touching buttons on the GoPro all the time. We'll see what that looks like.
On the remote itself, looks like you just have a big record button. You have the mode/power button, and you have a wrench looking icon, which I assume is for your settings, and a small screen. So we're gonna charge this up and see how it goes.
Okay, so we're done talking about there. And we will add to the little text box I didn't use. Jesus, my mouse is acting up a lot today. Small screen. And make it match the others, because otherwise that will look really funky if you don't make all these text boxes match.
We're gonna charge this up and see how it goes. Now we got this because...
So we're going to cut just after that big spike where I was setting it down. These little lines, it seems, were just Chandra whispering something to me. She was giving me a little bit of direction, because we do not use a script on any of our videos. This is all improvised. So it looks like she was just giving me whispering something to give me direction for this next section. So we're just going to cut that out, throw a transition, so you don't hear that, you don't see me jump on the screen because we're using a transition. So it looks like we have maybe one last section, and then I have to see what was done on this clip. So let's look at that next.
Goes. Now we got this because Chandra and I are not always together to shoot these videos, and so sometimes you don't have a cameraman, and it can be difficult to control the GoPro while you're trying to film and present products on screen. And while we do have the phone app, it's a little finicky with us. You can't always see yourself on it depending where you have your phone in the shot. And it seems like if the phone shuts off or has any issues or loses its connection to the GoPro, it stops your shot. So we've ended up with a few videos where I've had to piecemeal like 4 or 5 different takes together, where Chandra was doing one take or I was doing one take, but the phone losing connection made it 5 little videos. So we're hoping this is going to help with that, and we will see how it goes. Hope this helps.
Okay, so we're going to cut off that little bit at the end there. And now we are going to put in the, see what this is, but I could potentially end the video right there. So we're just going to see what this is about here. Oof, there's a lot of video there. So that really spiked our thing. As usual, I trim off the little bit in the beginning. And that's going to look weird if we don't put a transition. And this is what I was talking about. Sometimes I have to use multiple music tracks. You see this one ended. So to help it not be as noticeable, I'm just going to drop in the same music track and adjust the volume. And usually that will help you not pick it up as bad. Let's see what this next clip was about. That apparently was like 4 minutes long.
See how it goes. Hope this helps. So in looking at the charging device, we have...
Ooh, okay, so this is why we use Magic Enhance. So you can see in this one with the Magic Enhance, my skin's a little brighter. You can see the lights are a little brighter behind me. The floor looks a little darker, the furniture looks a little darker. It really draws out the colors. Compared to here, where I look a little darker, you can see the dark spots I have under my eyes because I don't sleep well most nights. So I have like little dark rings. They're more noticeable here compared to here. The lights aren't as bright. The floor is a little lighter. So that's why Chandra and I put it on every single clip. And my audio sounds off because we're not using that voice enhancement. Now let's see what we're talking about.
The charging device, we have discovered some difficulty. So in looking at the charging device, we have discovered some difficulties. One, there's this really hard to see little pull tab thing on the back, and it's the same color as the rest of the device, so it's black on black. So for if you have any low vision or stuff like that, it's very difficult to see. And for hand dexterity, you have to hold the lanyard key thing and...
Oh, I see what happened. This was not that long of a clip. What happened was, see how all these are selected? Somehow, this happens sometimes. If you don't pay attention, like click off and then click on your clip, it dropped all 3 clips in again. So we will take out our logo. That's the beginning unboxing again. So we'll take that out. We'll drag this audio clip in. There we go. That's not as bad. So this was like 1.5 minutes. And we will probably want to throw in Robotic Arm 3. I'm just going to look for what point I want to put that in.
Looking at the charging device, we have discovered some difficulties. One, there's this really hard to see little pull tab thing on the back, and it's the same color as the rest of the device, so it's black on black. So for if you have any low vision or stuff like that, it's very difficult to see. And for hand dexterity, you have to hold the lanyard key thing and this push tab at the same time, and then pull the lanyard piece out.
Okay, so there's a spot there I'm not talking, so that's probably a good spot to drop in our little text box. You'll notice if you're a long time viewer, sometimes Chandra and I like to use these as like a little commentary of our thoughts. So hard to see / pull out. And we will do that on important thoughts we want to convey because we always try to think to be accommodating to everyone, that, you know, if you are maybe hard of hearing or deaf and you're watching my videos, you know, I can't always get every one of them sign language interpreted. We try, but yeah, Sarah, the lady who did our last one with us, it's not always available. Yeah, and if you're paying your service, that costs a lot of money we don't have yet. So important things I really want to highlight, I'll usually throw in a text box like this, even though I'm saying the same thing in the video. That's why. It's for hard of hearing or deaf people who are watching.
Out. And then inside, there's a little hole where you put the...
Okay, so that was a little tall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down a little bit and then pull our text down a little bit to match it. It's then made it a little squished, so we'll pull this out a little bit on both sides. There we go. See what that looks like.
And then inside, there's a little hole where you put the charging cable in. Let's see if I can do this on the first try. Okay, so you have to push with a little bit of force, but then it makes a clicking noise. So on the one hand, this is really secure. This is not going anywhere. I can't even get the cable to wiggle or pull at all without pulling on the tab. But this is going to be a huge issue if you have any hand dexterity or low vision or anything like that. This is not going to be a good fit for you.
Okay. So now we're going to cut that out. And then lastly, we're going to go over to titles, and we're going to go to intro videos. And Chandra and I like to use this Welding Sparks one. These are like little pre-made videos. They're meant to be for intros, but I use it for my end closing titles. So you put it in, let me go back actually so you can see it real well. You have this icon that looks like a piece of paper. This is, you can save it as its own thing. I have not had good luck with that. Supposedly the idea is you could edit this once, then save it, and you could just put your clip then at the end of each clip. This has been a little finicky for me, and I haven't been able to get it to work properly quite yet. But, so I'm just going to hit the little pencil icon to edit it. And it takes us almost to a separate timeline. So I'm just going to click the title card one. I drag this box all the way out. And then I change this to the @spear because that's our logo and channel name. And then I type in assistive technology underneath that. Change it to the extra build open sans, and then I use this orange color. Then I hit apply and return. So now that is done. And lastly, we need to fade out our music so you don't have an abrupt sudden end. And then I just make sure it is at the end of the clip. So let's see what that looks like.
Going to be a good fit for you.
So then finally, you know, I'm not going to do it for you here, but usually I would then watch it over one more time to see what it all looks like. I'll do that another time since I'm recording for you guys. So now that we think our video is done, we're going to hit the big blue export button. And this is where you can pick the file type you want to have your finished project become. I like to use MP4 because I think it's the most universal of them. Some of these other ones are like you could have it as an audio file if you just wanted the music, for like if you were music editing. You can have it export to be specifically for a smartphone or tablet. Again, I don't really use that because I'm uploading to YouTube. You can save it for TVs, and you can upload online. Supposedly you're supposed to be able to upload directly to YouTube from this. I haven't tried it, so I'm not going to, but you can see it says you should be able to upload it to YouTube, Vimeo, or Google Drive directly from here. I think save for TVs would be for like if you had a TV that supports alternate media. Like if you had a flash drive with a couple pictures or videos on it, you could upload to your TV that way. And save for device, I guess, would be for like if you want someone to if you want to send it to like your relative with their Android or iPhone device. We upload to YouTube though, so I don't really bother with these other ones because you're gonna pull it up on YouTube. So here's where we can name the title. You can see because I saved it as what I wanted the title to be, it auto-filled that for me. You can tell it where you want to save to. In our case, it's the GoPro remote, and because this is finished, I'm going to put it into my completed files folder. That tells me this is done. I'm going to boost the quality up to highest, and then I'm going to go into advanced. I'm not going to bother with these other settings. This is where if you wanted to change the resolution or your frame rate and stuff like that, you could tweak this. The only thing I change in here is where it says bitrate and it's VBR. That means variable bitrate. The idea of that is if you have storage space limitations, you can leave it on VBR and it will try to make the file size as small as possible. But it hurts your quality a little bit when you do that because it's trying to adjust it whenever possible to get the file size down. So instead I do custom, which just tells it I want it to be the same across the board, and I just leave it wherever it thinks it is, what would be best for it. So once I'm done with all that, I hit start, and it's going to export it. So while that is exporting, we're going to pull up the YouTube channel, and I'm doing that in Edge instead of Chrome because I have my personal information tied to Chrome, but Edge is more for where I keep Shender and I's YouTube. For some reason this changed this.
This innovative
back. I don't know why this signed Shender out. Usually this is signed in. Oh, I see what happened. Microsoft has changed their stuff again. Oh, nope, there we are. It fixed. I was just being impatient. So you can see I'm signed into ATSpear over here. So I'm going to go to your channel. This is where I can see all of the videos on our channel. And I'm going to click where it says create, and I'm going to tell it to upload a video. So once this is exported, I will select it through here, and I'll show you that process real quick. Just so you guys can see a little bit of the behind the scenes of what it takes to upload to YouTube. So this is almost done. This usually only takes a couple minutes. As of course, the bigger your video, the longer this is going to take. But for a 4.5 minute video, this should not take that long. This remaining time is usually not very accurate. So we will give it a few more minutes, and then we will upload. this one I'm not going to edit as much because the whole point is to show you guys the entire process. You get however long this video ends up being, and however long it takes to get everything exported and uploaded and all that. So this could be an hour-long video, but we're gonna deal, because I think it's important for you guys to follow along who are trying to learn how to be your own YouTubers, and it's important to see, how much work goes into these videos, which is why Shinja and I only upload once a week. There we go. So this is just telling me that it has finished exporting. So I'm going to tell it OK. And then I'm going to save one more time just because I'm paranoid, and I'm going to close out of that. So now we're going to, on the YouTube page, we're going to hit Select Files. I'm going to navigate to where I have all my video projects. We're going to go into our remote review. We're going to completed, and there's our video. So it has the GoPro review, and it's uploading, and I will probably cut here so you guys don't see all this. But the important checkbox is no, it's not made for kids. And if you have an ad or you're sponsoring a product, you can check this box. The one I'm looking for, though, is here on Caption Certificate. I'm going to change it to it has not aired on US television with captions since September blah. This will help your video not get flagged for copyright. And I will add in some tags, and the description I always make be the subtitles. I do that so that any low vision or blind users who are watching can have their screen reader software read the description below the video if it's not reading the video correctly. If it's part of a playlist, you can do it here. I don't have any made yet. No, it's not for children. That helps you avoid getting flagged by COPPA or COPPA, whatever the child YouTube regulation group is called. And I will put tags in later. This is basically how you help the YouTube algorithm with its searching and putting your video in the right spot and recommending your video to the right people. So generally what I do, and what most YouTubers will tell you, is the first one is always your video name, and then you hit a comma. Second one is always your channel name, then it is your name. I do my name first if I'm in the video. I do Chandra's first if she's the one doing the video. And then you put in any tags you think are relevant to the videos. Typically I'll do the product and whatever groups I think can benefit from it. And you get up to 500 characters to do this. So I'm going to say it's a GoPro remote. It's a GoPro. It could fall under camera. So you can see that it could go good for video creators. And you just do this and as much as you can. There's plugins you can use in your browser to help you with this. But that's all there is to it, is I tag the video, and then once it's uploaded, I go and get the subtitles and put them in the description. But that's all there is to it. I'm not going to make you suffer through the hour upload it's going to take, because my internet is slow. But then you would hit next. I can't do these yet until the videos upload, but this is where you would put in your end screen. That is the video's and what you want to appear at the end of your video. And you can add cards here. I believe you get up to 5 cards. That's the thing where you'll see YouTubers point usually to the top of their screen. It will have some text up there, and if you click it, it takes you to a different video or to a website or something. That's where you put that in. And then visibility, private is only you and people who you have given a password and added their account and all that can watch it. Unlisted is it's on the channel, but they have to have the link to watch it. And then public is everyone can watch. And then schedule is if you wanted to make it public on a specific date, which is what I'm going to do because Chandra and I upload on Wednesday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we try to do 6 p.m. That way we can sit and respond to comments and such from you guys. I'm not going to do set as premiere. That's where it alerts everybody, and on their channel they'll get a notification in their app or on their webpage that you're going to be premiering at something. That's usually meant to be for super special stuff, like you're going to live stream, or maybe it's a holiday video or something big. So I don't usually check that. I will go back and do the cards and end screen once this is done, but since I have to wait for it to upload to do that, I'm just going to hit schedule for now. And then that's it. I'll make another video when it's done uploading, so I can show you putting in the cards and putting in the end screen and how I get the subtitles and how I do the thumbnail. But since I can't do any of that till this is uploaded, I'm just going to end the video here. So hope this helped you guys see all the work Chandra and I put into editing and uploading a video. Like and subscribe down below, and I hope this helped.